You hear the sound of a gunshot, and everyone around you starts screaming and running away. You run and dive for cover as you try to get your bearings. When you look down, you see that you've been hit and a pool of blood is starting to soak through your shirt. How does getting shot feel? Let's find out. We've all seen movies and TV shows where someone gets shot, but do these shows get it right? In 2017, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, about 40,000 people in the United States died because of guns. But many people have also lived through being shot, and when they talk about what happened and how it felt, there are some things that everyone has in common, even though everyone is different. Some people can take a lot of pain, while others can't. The way a person feels after being shot depends on where the bullet hit them, how big the bullet was, and how much pain they can handle. But let's look at different stories and see what most of them have in common. Many people who have been shot remember when the bullet first hit them. Strangely, at first, they don't remember feeling any pain. This is surprising because you would think that a hot piece of metal ripping through your skin, muscles, and nerves would hurt a lot. But most people who survive gunshot wounds don't realize they were shot until they see blood. One person who was shot and survived says that when the bullet hit her, it felt like someone had thrown a small pebble at her. She was hit in the side by a bullet, but all she can remember is being shocked and not feeling any pain at first. This may seem strange at first, but people who have been shot often do things like this. Many people say that when they were hit by a bullet, they didn't feel anything for the first few seconds. Once the brain realizes that the body has been hurt and it could be life-threatening, it goes into survival mode. The brain releases adrenaline into the bloodstream, which causes the body to raise blood pressure and heart rate, widen airways to the lungs, and use as much energy as possible. This lets the body reach levels beyond those of a normal person, and keep homeostasis. Even in extreme situations, the body can't keep this level of energy up forever, but it does allow the body to keep working even if it's been fatally hurt. Pain is also related to the size of the bullet. Bigger bullets make bigger holes and usually cause more pain. But you think that a smaller caliber should still cause a lot of pain, but the body can do amazing things when it's a matter of life and death. A smaller bullet, like a 9mm, that doesn't break up when it enters the body will cause a lot less pain than a big bullet that explodes into shrapnel. Bullets that explode inside the body can tear through tissue and muscle near where they entered. This hurts and hurts a lot of people in the affected area. The more damage is done, the more pain signals are sent to the brain, and the worse the injury will be once the initial shock wears off and the body starts fixing the damage. Many people who have been shot remember feeling like they were on fire. This is something that most survivors say. Some people say that the burning feels a bit like a very painful bee sting. But the initial burning doesn't go away, it just gets worse. It feels like being stung by a bee with a stinger that never stops, or like a needle is being pushed into your body over and over again. When the bullet hits the skin, the person feels an impact, but the burn doesn't start right away. In fact, many people who have been shot remember feeling numb when the bullet hit them. The pressure can be felt, but it doesn't hurt. Then, a feeling of numbness spreads through their whole body from where the bullet hit. As the numbness and shock start to go away, a burning feeling takes their place. It feels like a bee sting that never stops. Some people have said that the burning feels like someone is sticking a hot iron poker into their body that just came out of a fire. Other people who were shot say that the burning feels like someone is pressing their finger into a rub blister. People have also said that the burning feels like a very painful sunburn that is concentrated in one spot on the body, or like a bunch of needles are being stuck into them. But it seems like every time the needle goes into the body, it just keeps getting pushed further in, with no end to how it feels. The fire seems to start where it comes in, but then it spreads outward. This may be a small piece of shrapnel ripping through the nerves, but one thing is clear for most people who have been shot: the burning feeling is what is felt after the brain realizes that the bullet has entered the body. Again, everyone's body is different and will respond to intense trauma in different ways. Like being shot. Soldiers who have been shot have said that being hit by a bullet was very different from what they expected. Most people agree that when a bullet enters the body, there is a short time when there is no pain at all. Instead of burning slowly, the pain from a bullet wound goes from a little pressure to unbearable pain. Soldiers may feel more pain because they were probably shot with a larger caliber bullet from a rifle. Most likely, the bullets and guns that are used in war are not the same ones that are used to shoot civilians in random acts of gun violence. This isn't always the case, but it seems like being shot by an assault rifle would hurt more than being shot by a pistol with a small caliber bullet. One soldier who was shot in the stomach says that after a few seconds, the shock wore off. The pain began right away after that. He remembers that it felt like being hit in the stomach over and over with a sledgehammer. This caused the worst incontinence possible. He was in a lot of pain, but he could see that a warm numbness was spreading through the rest of his body. Eventually, he passed out on the other end of the pain scale. Some people who were shot say it didn't hurt at all. They didn't feel like they were on fire. They didn't feel like they were torn apart. They had no feelings. This could be because of the person, but a few people have said that when they were shot, they didn't feel much pain. A .22 caliber bullet hit a man in the calf, but he said it didn't hurt. He says that this is because the bullet is small. Even though there are no vital organs in the calf, being shot in different parts of the body seems to cause different feelings. But what if someone shoots you in the head? You might be surprised to learn that it's not as rare as you might think for someone to survive a gunshot wound to the head. You might also think that being shot in the head would be very painful, but this isn't always the case. The man's wife accidentally shot him in the head while he was sleeping. Even though it seems unlikely that someone would accidentally shoot themselves in the head, that is the story the wife stuck to. She said that while her husband was sleeping, the gun went off and the bullet went through his head. The man didn't even know he'd been shot when he woke up. Instead, he told his wife that he had a terrible headache. The man's headache was so bad that he asked his wife to drive him to the hospital, which she did. He didn't know what had happened until the nurse at the hospital told him that he had been shot in the head. At this point, the wife left the hospital to avoid being charged with trying to kill her husband. But this isn't the only story of a person who was shot in the head and lived. There are a few things that people who have been shot in the head have in common. The first is a very bad headache caused by the bullet going through the head. This is not surprising, since a piece of metal is now stuck in their brain. The other thing they have in common is a ringing sound. Most people who have been shot in the head and have lived say that their ears are always ringing. Some people say that the sound of the bells is different from anything else they've ever heard. It's so strong and loud that it almost drowns out everything else. Some survivors say it sounds like bees buzzing in their ears, while others say it sounds like a bell ringing in their head. No matter how the ringing is described, everyone agrees that it is very loud and never goes away. When someone is shot in the head, there seems to be a first ping sound. The pinging turns into ringing, which can last anywhere from a few hours to a few days or weeks. The ringing doesn't hurt, but it is very loud and annoying. Most people who have been shot say that getting better is the hardest part. Many people feel like they are on fire when they first get shot, but that is nothing compared to what happens if they survive. If they do, they are rushed to surgery, and depending on where the bullet went in, The surgery to remove the bullet and fix the wound is excruciating. Many people who have been shot say that getting better and getting help is much worse than getting shot. One survivor said that when she was first operated on, the doctors couldn't find the bullet and didn't want to dig around in her body to find it. So they chose to keep the bullet. The gunshot victim had to go through multiple surgeries to get better. During one of them, the bullet was pushed close to the surface of the skin. She remembered that the bullet was almost sticking out of her body until she got one of the surgeons to take it out. Many gunshot wounds take a long time to heal. This means that survivors will be in constant pain for a long time as their bodies heal. Still, for many people who have been shot, the worst part isn't the pain of getting better. It's the psychological trauma that sticks with them for the rest of their lives. Most people who are shot end up with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. They are usually sent to counselors and therapists to help them deal with the trauma. This doesn't always help, though. Being shot doesn't make them afraid of guns or loud noises, but things that have nothing to do with being shot might make them feel scared and scared. With the help of doctors and counselors, PTSD can go away for many people. However, for some people, it doesn't go away, and they have to live with the disorder for the rest of their lives. It's never fun to get shot. Whether it's a burning feeling, a lot of pain, or a mental trauma, it's something you remember for the rest of your life. What a person feels after being shot depends on who it is, what kind of bullet was used, and where the bullet went in. Many people who are shot and live don't fully recover.